great pleasure and privilege to be here. And I'm going to speak on something unique about tradition. You may see my whole attire is very traditional. In my childhood, there used to be a very favorite fair that happened in Dashera. That's the burning of Ravana. And it was a very interesting sight. And it said that once Ravana was very angry that why is everybody burning me? And he asked the crowds, why are you burning me? I didn't kidnap your wife. And the angry crowd said, that's exactly the reason why we are burning you. Apart from humor, most of the traditions that we follow in India seem to be just a recollection or a representation of the past. Do they have any connection to the present day challenges and the life we live? At my convocation in 2003, I got an invite saying that please come in traditional dress. And the traditional dress they meant was a kurta and pajama. But by then I was already connected to some kind of spirituality. So I thought, let me go in dhoti kurta. And I went like this, and all my friends were aghast. Ye kya pehen ke aaya tu? And when I went to the stage, the photo is still there. The Infosys CEO, Narayan Murthy, and my HOD, both mouths are wide open, seeing me in this dress. Imagine if today, if any one of you come to the class or the college, apart from the traditional day, in a attire like this, everybody will think, ye kaun sa zamana se aa gaya hai vyakti. And it won't be considered something modern or something accepted. But there is a reason why in traditional times people used to wear dhoti the way I am wearing. First of all, because India is tropical climate, it ventilates your whole inner system, your below system, nothing sweats. And whether you are double size or half size, it's the same dhoti you wear, so you don't have to worry about dieting. And so there was a purpose behind that. And there was a very interesting episode I recently saw about Tom and Jerry. Everyone loves Tom and Jerry shows. Yes. And in that, the mammy, the housemaid, she was highly upset with Tom's inefficiency. Tom was just lazing around, drinking a lot of milk every day, but not catching Jerry. And then she read in the newspapers about an ad about a robotic cat. Anybody into robotics here? So this Meccano, this robotic cat, was highly efficient. You don't have to feed it, you don't have to, the cat doesn't fuss around or there is no fur that falls apart. And the cat was highly efficient. Within a day, the Jerry was caught and was thrown outside. And Jerry was highly upset and he was trying to come in, but no avail. And then Jerry thought, he went to the mall and he bought robotic rats, 10 of them, and it left everywhere in the house. And this Meccano, although it was very efficient, it lacked discrimination. And in an attempt to try to kill all the robotic rats, it created an havoc in the whole house. The whole house was destroyed by this Meccano. Often, technology is like this Meccano. We want to create some goodwill, something good for the society, but then later it turns out to be that was a cause for all the pollution that is happening now. Or recently I read a news where the baby talcum powder that we all apply on our kids is a cause, one of the causes for cancer. And although it looks to be efficient technology, without a connection to the tradition, technology can become very dangerous. And tradition has always been a way by which the box was understood, the box of health, the box of relationships, the box of society. And when we don't understand that it is a pattern, a science behind it, and we just discard all the traditions that we have in India. Therefore, this is a very important debate that happens all over the world. Can technology replace tradition? because technology is coming up so fast, can teachers be replaced by technology? You don't need any mentor. Can technology replace the food? Yes, of course, the GMO and the way the food research is happening. Sometimes it happens to be that the apple is very plump, but although apple is plump, it is filled with so many pesticides that actually harm you. So can technology replace friends? If you have a struggle going on, no matter how many Facebook friends you have, having somebody next to you, doesn't that help? Can texting replace talking? We have so many times into the mobiles that we lose contact with the human being that we are. Can walking be replaced by temple run? No, not at all. And when we start to think that because technology is coming up, we can neglect the tradition, the way human beings have lived for centuries, especially the human interaction. Therefore, I like this quote by Einstein very much. I fear the day that technology will surpass our human interaction. The world will have a generation of idiots. There is an interesting term that has come up now called as vidiot. And vidiot means somebody who is addicted to watching videos is called a vidiot. And we are now so much into technology that the human relationships in a family or among friends or the way we deal with the environment is many times distractive and destructive. And in this, I would like to present a solution to you. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. If the wheel is already been given the set of traditions that are very useful, let us use those traditions, let us use that wheel to build a cart. Don't break the wheel to build a cart. Don't break the traditions that your family generations have been giving. Many of them are scientific. Of course, there can be blind traditions that don't have any basis. One thing that I heard, that in a marriage, one of the requirements was that there has to be a cat under the basket. That was a tradition that was coming in a family. And everybody inquired, why there has to be a cat under the basket? And then the grandmother said, in my marriage, there was a cat that was moving all around, and the Pandit ji, he just took a basket and kept the cat under the basket. And I thought that's part of the game and it's following. So in India there is so many blind traditions that we follow. I'm not talking about them, but just discarding technology blindly or discarding tradition blindly will actually not cause the human growth, and the indigenous, the uniqueness that India has will also be lost. In this, I would give this example of a kite. Now, I got a kite for you. Can someone hold the kite so that we can fly the kite here? How many of you fly kites? So let me try to fly the kite. So the kite is only flying because the thread is connected. But the moment I leave the thread, what happens? The kite doesn't fly, the kite actually falls down. So the traditions may seem to be binding us, but it is those traditions of family relationships, those traditions of respecting nature, respecting the life that is all around us, actually helps us to grow in a holistic way. Else, there is growth in one direction, but there is harm in the long run. Therefore, there is this quote, today's discipline is tomorrow's success. Any artist, any successful person, the core thing about him is the discipline to the basics. A.R. Rahman can play amazing music, but he has learned the basics well. And when you learn the basics well, the sa re ga ma, then it will appear as if this person is just playing without any adherence to the music. But now, because he has become an expert, a cricket player or a typist or anyone in any field, he may appear to be not following and breaking the rules many times, but it is because he has grown beyond the tradition, because he understood the box and how to improve the box or how to make the box more and more beautiful. Apart from many practices that are there in tradition, all traditions, especially those that are genuine, are based on 4 pillars. I am not come here to ask all of you to come in this attire, a wooden slippers and a shaven head and this kind of attire. But the principles, if you follow, the principles of any tradition that are there in India or across any religion, they are rooted in these 4 pillars. And when we harm any of these 4 pillars because of the technology that we are trying to come up, that causes destruction. So the first pillar of any tradition is sensitivity. Sensitivity to life, sensitivity to others' emotions. Recently I had to introduce one of my friends who is a fellow monk, and he is a cook in our temple. He cooks for all of us. So if the words came out in my mouth, how to introduce him. I was about to introduce him as he is our cook. But then I thought that's not the right way, because he is also a doctor by profession. So then I said to the one whom I am introducing, he is the one who feeds us. So you can say he is our cook, or you can say he feeds us. It's the same thing. But the way, the sensitivity of interaction, that is very important. And when you break that relationship, say in the name of technology, if you don't respect your parents that may not be so technologically aware, and you disrespect them, then that is not being sensitive. So anywhere when technology harms sensitivity, then there is destruction in the environment, there is destruction in animals. Same sensitivity to animals, that's the very reason why there is vegetarianism in India so much. The second principle of tradition is honesty. Be what you are. First of all, understand what you are and do what you can, because excellence or satisfaction comes in doing what you like and liking what you do. And then that is what is honesty is. And when you follow the principle of honesty, then that honesty breeds trust. And once you are trustworthy in any field, then growth happens, because people want to invest in it. The third principle of honesty of tradition is independency. The font there has the issue. So independence, we get dependent, we get toxicated by so many things. So try to come out of those toxics. Of course, more than other toxics, the biggest toxic that all of us are influenced by is not chemical dependency, but it is mobile dependency. And this mobile dependency has become so much that just like there is Alcoholic Anonymous, nowadays there is Cellcoholic Anonymous. Person becomes addicted to the cell phone and he just can't see the outside world properly. I am sure many of you may not have seen the sun rising for a long time. And how many of you thank your parents or congratulate them or appreciate them regularly? We are just so busy in our technical things in our life that we lose, and then we don't have that support system that comes. And so this mobile dependency is one thing. It starts with magic, then it becomes a manic, and then it becomes a toxic. The stories where kids have sold their kidneys just to get a gadget, because the dependency has become so much. The fourth principle of dependency of tradition is purity, loyalty. And when loyalty is lacking, then that relationship doesn't last for long. Purity of words, purity of thoughts. Once in a mall, a man came to a beautiful lady and he asked her, "Can you talk to me?" And she said, "Why should I talk to you?" She said, "I lost my wife in this mall somewhere, and my observation is whenever I talk to a beautiful lady, she appears. So I thought this is the best way for me to find my wife." And the eyebrows are all the time raised when the loyalty is broken. And therefore it is said after marriage, why is the bindi on the forehead? That means the recording is on. Be careful. Of course, that's not the very reason why it is there. So these are the 4 pillars of tradition, and we can't just let go of the technology, not the tradition. If technology becomes blind and lacks discrimination and falls into the hands of terrorists, it creates destruction. So therefore, this example of the blind man and the lame man is there. When they cooperate with each other, then there is growth. Technology should not inhibit tradition, nor do tradition should inhibit technology. And if technology is Vidya, then what gives beauty to that Vidya is tradition, and that's I named here as Alankar, Vidya Alankar. Therefore, technology and tradition should not replace each other, but should enhance each other. Let's understand the tradition, the sciences behind it, and try to come together. The very reason this circle is there is not to limit me, but this is the best way I can reach out. The recording happens properly if I walk around, and this may be seen as the zone which is restricting me. This is not the zone that is restricting me. This is the zone by which I can give my best effort. Therefore, they say get out of your comfort zone. I say don't get out of your comfort zone, just get out of your lazy zone. Because if you are lazy, then nothing will happen, but when you work from this place of strength, then you can do a lot of wonders. In 2011, I was severely debilitated by autoimmune disease, and I was on bed for 2 years with steroids. But then when I understood that once you accept your limits, you start to go beyond them, I started to work within my limits, and then I was able to help so many individuals. So in summary, once you understand the box in which you are living, the box that has been given to you, not discard the box, then you can actually put a lot of things in that box, and that is enough for our life. So to summarize, tradition is practices, but more than practices, the principles that are there. Tradition is to enable freedom. The kite that I gave you example, if the kite is the technology, the thread is the tradition, the family culture that is existing. The 4 principles of tradition, which I acronym as SHIP: sensitivity, honesty, independency, and purity. All the traditions will boil down to these 4 principles. And technology and tradition should enhance, not replace each other. Thank you very much.